If you feel like you're solving the same problems in your business over and over again, this episode is for you. Not because you're not capable, not because you're not trying, but because something deeper is happening. You're not dealing with a business problem, you're dealing with a decision pattern. And until that changes, nothing else will.
You're listening to the Off Balance Podcast, where faith, family, and business collide. Hosted by Brooks Deming, Doctor of Business Administration, business coach, and resilience expert. Each episode features real-life conversations to help entrepreneurs like you build resilience and lead with confidence.
Welcome back to Off Balance. I'm your host, Dr. Brooks. This podcast is for entrepreneurs and professionals who want clarity, structure, and sustainable growth. And today we're talking about something I see constantly in coaching sessions: smart, capable business owners making the same type of decisions and getting the same results, not because they don't know better, but because they don't see the pattern. Here's the truth. Most business problems are not new problems. They are repeated patterns, different situations, same decision style, different person, same response, different challenge, same outcome. And when that happens, people start thinking, this is just how business is. This is just part of the process. But it's not. It's a signal that something in your decision making process is misaligned. Most people think decisions are logical. They're not, they're patterned. They are influenced by past experiences, pressure, fear of outcomes, and lack of clarity. So even when you know what to do, you don't always choose it because your pattern overrides your knowledge. Let me show you from a coaching lens what I listen for. Because people don't say, I have a decision-making problem, they reveal it. Pattern number one is delayed decisions. I've been thinking about it. I just need a little more time. That's not thoughtfulness, that's avoidance. And delayed decisions create stagnation. Pattern two, emotional led decisions. I didn't want to upset them. I just went with what felt right. That's not leadership, that's emotional management. And emotions are inconsistent. Pattern three, reactive decisions. I had to fix it quickly. I just handled it in a moment. That creates short term relief and long term inconsistency. Pattern four, overcomplicated decisions. I've been researching and trying to figure it out the best way. That's not strategy, that's overthinking. And overthinking delays execution. Pattern five, delegation avoidance. It's just easier if I do it. That's not efficiency, that's control. And control limits growth. So now you can hear it. You can hear how decision making shows up in real conversations. But here's where most people stop. They identify the pattern and they stay there. I don't stop at patterns because patterns don't just affect how you think, they affect how your business operates. So let's shift out of the coaching lens for a second and look at what this creates inside your business from an HR perspective. So, from an HR perspective, poor decision patterns create instability because when decisions are inconsistent, unclear, or delayed, it impacts team trust, performance expectations, and accountability. Your team doesn't just respond to what you say, they respond to how you decide. If your decisions change based on your mood, pressure, or situation, your business becomes unpredictable, and unpredictability creates risk. Now, if you're thinking that sounds a little abstract, let me give you a clear example of what this looks like. So, let me give you a real time example here. A client might say, my team isn't performing, but after a few questions, we uncover expectations were never clearly defined, feedback was delayed, decisions about performance were avoided. So, it's not a team issue, it's a leadership decision pattern. And once we see that, we can fix it. So, what needs to shift? You don't need better intentions. You just need better decision standards. What do I mean by that? I mean deciding faster on what matters, documenting your expectations, separating emotions from leadership, and following through consistently. Because consistency in decisions creates stability in your business. So here's the reframe. You're not stuck, you're patterned. And that matters because those are two very different problems. When you believe you're stuck, you start questioning your capability. You start thinking something is wrong with you. You start looking for more motivation, clarity, and confidence. But that's not the issue because you're already capable. You already have enough information. You already know more than you're executing. The problem isn't capacity, it's pattern. And patterns are learned, they're repeated, they're reinforced over time, which means they can also be changed, but not by doing more, not by trying harder, and not by waiting until you feel ready. Patterns change when they're seen. When you can identify, this is how I delay decisions, this is where I let emotions lead, this is where I overthink instead of executing, that awareness creates a shift because you're not reacting, you're choosing. And once you can see the pattern, you can interrupt it. You can decide faster. You can lead with structure instead of emotion. You can stop solving the same problem over again. And that's where movement happens. Not when everything is perfect, but when your decision making becomes consistent, because consistency builds stability, and stability is what allows your business to grow without you carrying all of it. So, no, you're not stuck. You've just been operating in patterns that no longer serve the level you're trying to reach. And now that you've seen them, you don't have to stay there. So, if you're listening to this and you're thinking, I have definitely been doing this, that is exactly what I identify in the business and HR clarity audit. We don't just look at what's happening, we look at how decisions are being made, where breakdowns are occurring, and what patterns are keeping you stuck. So you leave with clear direction, identified risks, and specific next steps. If you're tired of solving the same problems, this is where that changes. The link to book your audit is in the description of this episode. I'll leave you with this. Your business will only grow to the level of your decision making, not your effort, not your intentions, your decisions. And when those improve, everything else follows. Talk soon.
Thanks for listening. Please rate this episode and share it with your family and friends. To learn more about your host or to book a coaching session, visit www.brooksdeming.com. Until next time, rise.
Hi, I'm Tiffany of Tiffany Brown Designs. With over 20 years of creative experience across industries, I create and elevate brands one design at a time through intentional graphic and brand design, polished film and video editing, and creative artistry. Even the music you're hearing right now, that was produced by me. I also create custom tracks for websites, intros and outros, and content. So what are you waiting for? Visit TiffanyCBrownGD.com and let's bring your vision to life.